Welcome and thanks for tuning in to This Week from Blue Mountain Broadcasting. I'm your host, Lynelle Ellis, and I'm delighted that you've joined me today because we are going to be on the theme of water in today's program. What could be more important than water? And we're going to draw some spiritual applications to that too. We'll talk about water in our devotional, and then I'm going to be interviewing Gary Bartholomew from Water for Life International. I met him at the ASI convention, and I'm just looking forward to sharing some time with him, finding out about this really important ministry. So stay tuned for that, and also for station news at the end of the program. Let's begin now with our devotional thought. We are going to talk about water and water for life. Now, I wonder how I got the inspiration for this thought, for what we could talk about for our devotional today. Yes, I freely admit that it comes from the fact that I was going to be interviewing Gary Bartholomew, which we'll do in a few minutes. And when you hear the phrase water for life, and if you're familiar at all with the New Testament, right away comes to your mind Jesus at Jacob's well with the Samaritan woman and offering her this water that would be life-giving water. Not that regular water isn't life-giving in its own way, but in much more of an eternal sense. And so we're going to take a look today at some thoughts that come out of the book Messiah. It's a little book, a little devotional book based on the book The Desire of Ages, originally written by Ellen White, and then the Messiah is brought into more modern language by Jerry D. Thomas. And this little book has been a favorite devotional reading book for me. I should have brought my copy with me today because it's pretty tattered, which is good evidence that I've carried it all over the country. I've taken it camping, and it's gone all kind of places where I've enjoyed reading that, and our whole family actually has enjoyed reading from this little book. And today's key passage related to what I'm going to share with you is from John chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. It says this: "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give will never be thirsty." And so what we're going to be sharing today during this devotional time are some excerpts from the chapter about the woman at the well. As they traveled toward Galilee, Jesus and his disciples passed through Samaria. At noon, they reached the beautiful Shechem Valley and stopped to rest at Jacob's well. Jesus waited at the well while his disciples went into town to buy food for their meal. As Jesus waited in the hot sun, his hunger and thirst grew. He had no rope or jar to lower into the deep well to reach it. A woman from the Samaritan town walked up. She didn't appear to notice Jesus. As she turned to go, Jesus asked her for a drink. It was not a request she could deny. In that culture, providing a drink to a thirsty traveler was a sacred responsibility. Because of the hate between the Samaritans and the Jews, she couldn't offer Jesus a drink, but he was looking for a way to her heart by asking her for a favor instead of offering one. He started to build trust with her. The woman saw that Jesus was a Jew. She was so shocked that he would speak to her that she forgot to give him a drink. She could only ask, "Why would you ask me for a drink since you're a Jewish man and I'm a Samaritan woman?" Jesus answered, "You're surprised that I would ask you for something so small as a drink of water from this well. If you had asked me, I would have given you a drink of the water of eternal life." She didn't understand what Jesus meant. "Sir, this well is deep, and you don't even have a jar to draw water out. How could you have given me any water? Are you a better person than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well?" Jesus didn't argue with her. He didn't even answer her question. He said, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give will never be thirsty." Those who try to quench their thirst with what the world offers will be left unsatisfied. People everywhere are searching for something that meets the needs of their heart. Only Jesus can do that. The grace he can give is like living water. It purifies, refreshes, and strengthens the soul. Jesus wasn't saying that only one drink of his living water was needed. Anyone who experiences his love will be back for more. He was saying that nothing else, not riches, fame, or pleasure, would attract in the same way. The heart will constantly cry for more of his love, and more is always available. We can drink and drink and drink again. The woman stared in amazement as Jesus spoke. She knew he wasn't talking about the water in the well beside them. She drank it every day and always had to return for more. "Give me this water, sir," she asked. Let's ask Jesus that same thing. Give me this water. There's a lot more to this story that we don't have time to share together today, but I would encourage you to open your Bible sometime today to John chapter 3 and read the whole story. It's really, John chapter 4. John chapter 4 and read the whole story. It's really such an amazing story, straight out of the book of John where it's told. And if you'd like to read more of this expanded version of the story from the book Messiah or from the book Desire of Ages, I encourage you to do that as well. It will bless you to read it as we, again, ask God for that living water that only He can give. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Joining me now is Gary Bartholomew from Water for Life International. Gary, it is really great to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
It's a good opportunity. I'm so excited that I met you at ASI. Our viewers know that I went to that convention. I've mentioned it a few times, but met you there, found out just a little bit about your ministry, and know that you're based in Washington State, and just couldn't wait to have you on the show to talk about what you do.
Thank you.
So let's start with just a description. Water for Life, what is it?
Water for Life drills water wells in remote Guatemalan villages where they don't have access to safe water. Where Water for Life drills, mortality drops. So that tells you something about what we're up to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a platform to share the gospel. And that's the most rewarding thing to me right now because it's really growing, it's surging. We have a lot of Bible workers involved. And so to share the gospel, we're wide open to those people in those villages once we drill a well.
Yes, it's amazing. So how long have you been working with this organization?
This will be our 18th year that we've been drilling wells in Guatemala.
And did you found Water for Life?
Yes, I'm a co-founder. And 18 years ago, we started at a school and orphanage to provide safe water for 700 people there.
Yes. So you have some background with well drilling. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that.
I grew up in the water well drilling industry and water well pump systems. And years ago, in 1985, we adopted our daughter from Guatemala. And then in 97, we had an opportunity to go to that orphanage. That's where Water for Life started because we wanted to get safe water for that orphanage and school connected with it.
Yes.
And provide safe water there.
Such a wonderful combination between your family business that you kind of inherited almost, yes, and the knowledge that you have with that, and then the need that you saw in this place.
Never dreamed it, but the Lord has ways of guiding, and He has been so faithful. And this is a praise to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the projects you're working on right now.
Okay. One thing that may be unique is that we're training drillers and drilling crews and pump technicians and pump crews in Guatemala. Uh-huh. They are not dependent on us going there right now to drill wells. They are carrying the ball, so to speak, last year and this year, and they're training other people. So that may be unique in that we don't go there to drill, we go there to mentor.
Ah, very good.
And then secondly, instead of 2 or 3 Bible workers, we have 11 now, and so that's exciting.
So this is a unique organization because you're doing the training, you're helping to make the wells, but you're also apparently training Bible workers and having them active there.
That's correct.
So there's kind of 2 arms to it.
And this is a partnership with other ministries too, because to get Spanish Bibles, we rely on light bearers.
Yes.
That's their specialty, is to send container loads of Bibles, and we were there in March when 20,000 Spanish Bibles came. What a blessing from the Lord.
Great to hear about that partnership too. I know a lot of our viewers are very familiar with light bearers, and probably many of them are donors. So now they're hearing a little bit about what has happened.
Well, let me tell you, an hour and a half ago, I received a call from light bearers. They said, "We have good news for you." And I've not applied for another container of Bibles or literature. They said, "We're sending another container."
Oh, what a great surprise.
Yeah, Providence is moving.
Yes.
And we'll use those like hot bread, so to speak. We're having to hang on to some of our 20,000 Bibles because we figured, this is going to have to last us 2 or 3 years. Now we just keep giving them out to those people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So in the 18 years that you've been there, starting with this orphanage, you've been to villages. For some, you can name maybe some of the places, and it'll make sense to some of us and maybe not some others. But what are some of the places that you've reached into?
We're in the northern third of Guatemala, the Petén area.
Okay.
And a lot of people have heard about that. It's bordered by Mexico and Belize.
Yes.
And so that's where we work, is that northern third. And people say, well, aren't you going to move out to different places too? Yes, we probably will. The way the Lord is working, and we're training people. We still have more rigs there, more drilling rigs that aren't being used, and so we're in a place where we can expand and reach further. And so we look forward to wherever the Lord leads us. We have a lot of calls all the time from people further south in the country.
Making requests.
Could you come and drill? We work very closely with Seventh-day Adventist Church, and sometimes there's little churches out in villages where there's no water, and so our request comes through the church. We'll put it in the front of the church. They can't put a fence around it. It needs to be open to the public.
To everyone.
And sometimes our request comes through the government health ministry because they've heard about Water for Life, and so that's what we're doing.
It's so important to have clean water.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what deep spiritual analogies there really are, and I can tell you chose the name of your organization pretty carefully, Water for Life.
We enjoy having a well dedication at each well once it's finished. And at that point, our Bible workers, make correlation to the true water of life or the river of life and things like that. That's a happy time to give out Spanish Bibles and start Bible studies.
It's absolutely a metaphor that God uses a lot in the Bible for representing, what's the most important for us. Absolutely. So, how often do you go to Guatemala? Because you now have local people who are trained and are training others, but do you go very often?
My wife and I go for 2 months every winter. So I'm retired now, but even when working, sometimes winter is the slow time in well drilling because the weather's so severe or it's so muddy we can't get a heavy equipment in up here in this country. But we go 2 months every winter. Sometimes I go in the fall and follow up our 40-foot shipping container of supplies and equipment and disperse that and acquaint our workers with that.
So that's kind of a good thing to be there and say, here's what we've got.
Sometimes I go twice, sometimes once a year. Yeah.
Nice for you to be able to go every year, though.
Amen.
And
it is.
Be in touch with what's happening.
Yep. Even though those fellas are happy for a job, they're working well together, they're encouraged when we go, and we're encouraged that they're carrying out our mission.
Yes.
That's the future of Water for Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very, very good. So I know that as our viewers are listening right now and you're describing what you do and how important it is, they're thinking, that is really an amazing ministry. How could I be part of it?
Sure.
Can people be involved financially? Can they actually go to Guatemala? What can happen?
Certainly. First of all, we're dependent on prayer, because this we see the Lord's hand in everything down there. You know, sometimes when you don't have anything and something great comes out of it, you know who to give credit to. And so prayer, yes, finances. In North America, we raise finances to keep our crew going, because we're hiring 10 people down there now.
Yes.
We get some support from the villages, but they're very poor people. These areas are where people make the $2 a day that you hear about. Mm-hmm. But it's amazing how many pieces of pipe or gallons of diesel they can help with. So we raise funding up here. That's important. And any support. If people want to go, we need translators. We need volunteers that want to just maybe paint apartments. We have apartments, kitchen, all of these things. Doesn't cost anything to stay there. It just costs the trip to and from. So yes, we do take volunteers.
Oh, that's great to hear. And do you then take the volunteers with you sometimes when you go on those winter months, or?
Yes, usually they'll come for 2 or 3 weeks. Sometimes some volunteers come for 6 weeks, and so they can come during that time when we're there. Some people have done a lot of mission trips and they said, I want to do one on my own. Boy, we turn them over to Bernie, our lead man down there. He's an excellent host and fit right where people want to be.
Sounds like there are a lot of opportunities kind of on a broad spectrum. So if you're skilled in a certain area, that can be used, or really if you just know how to put paint on walls.
Sure.
You could do that.
Some people love painting. That's not me, but some people love painting.
I'm doing a painting project right now for Blue Mountain Television, and I'm trying to decide if I love it. I don't know.
There you go. There you go.
It's good. But volunteering is good. It's such an enjoyable thing to do.
He that watereth shall be watered. Proverbs 11:25.
Yeah.
When we give, whether it's here in our community or if it's overseas, when we give, it does something to us.
It really does. So great opportunities there.
Amen.
Obviously, you mentioned prayer. Do you have some contact information? You can say it right now, and we'll be sure to put it on the screen.
GuatemalaWells.com is the quickest way to our website. The H2O for life, then I have to say, is it a numeral 4 or FOR and things like that. But GuatemalaWells.com, and that'll get you right to our website. And there's a place to donate. There's place to sign up for mission trip, different things, a lot of information, some little videos to watch there.
Pictures, video, yes.
GuatemalaWells.com.
GuatemalaWells.com.
Yep.
Very good. So people can be sure to be involved in some way with what you're doing. I had a brief stop in Belize a few years back, which is next to Guatemala.
Yes.
So I haven't been to Guatemala, but the poverty that you're talking about was so immediately apparent.
From where our shop is, it's just 18 miles to the Belize border, so we're very close to that side of this Pay-10 region.
Really an area with a lot of need.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Well, Gary, I just want to thank you. It's been so fascinating to learn more about Water for Life International.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And stay tuned. I'll be right back. Time for station news. First, the exciting updates about the new facility, the new building. You know, we've got that construction permit, and so walls are going in on 2 offices that we are adding there, and the studs are already up, and I know the sheetrock is going to be next, so this is just a very, very exciting time. It's great to see it whenever I stop by over there. Also, some things that maybe aren't as visibly obvious but are really important is that we have 2 new air conditioning units, or maybe it's 1, but it's for 2 rooms. And that air conditioning unit was installed this week for those 2 rooms that have to be isolated in their air conditioning from the rest of the building. These are equipment rooms. And so it's very important that we keep things cool in those 2 rooms. And so now that we have the AC there, we are prepared. We've got special flooring in those rooms, anti-static. We've got AC in those rooms now. So they're being prepared for the equipment being able to come over. So it's huge, a really, really big and a very large thank you to all who helped with that project, especially Keith Carlin, who carried, I think it was like a ton of gravel in order to get the foundation that we needed to have this air conditioning unit set on outside. So very grateful to everybody who helped with that project. Also, we are painting one of the offices, and this is in preparation for Elaine Hinshaw, who I interviewed last week on the show, who's coming to be our Creative and Development Director for Blue Mountain Broadcasting Association. Elaine and I spent quite a few hours last Friday painting an office, and we got a little bit more to do this week to finish it up so that she will have a great place to be at our new facility. And now that we've tried out the new color, we really like it. It looks great in this office, and that color is going to gradually be spreading throughout the facility as we, room by room, get the whole thing painted as it should be for the move-in of Blue Mountain Television. And you can tell that we're starting to think of this as maybe a phased move-in instead of all at once. Some of the equipment won't be able to come over quite yet, but most of the people will be able to come over pretty soon to the new building. So it's an exciting time for us. Now, on another subject. I know it's great to hear about the building and everything, but what you probably really care about on Blue Mountain Television is, what am I going to be watching on the station? What are the shows that are coming up that I can join into that will be a blessing to my life, that will be interesting, that will lead me closer in my relationship with God? So we've got 2 new programs coming up that you've got to know about. One of them is called Conversations, and it is hosted by one of our favorite people here at Blue Mountain Television, John Bradshaw. So Conversations with John Bradshaw is going to premiere on Blue Mountain Television on October 1. That's a Saturday, so Sabbath, October 1 at 10 a.m. You might have to record it or watch it later if you're already engaged at church during that time, which you might be. So there's some other times, though, that you can catch it as well. Besides 10 a.m. on Saturdays, there's also Tuesday at 10 p.m. and Wednesdays at 8 a.m. So a couple of other times when you can catch that one. And here's just a little description that John Bradshaw sent to us about this. It says, inviting you into the heart of inspirational experiences and unforgettable testimonies. Conversations will spark your curiosity and encourage you in your walk with God. That sounds good. Testimonies are always fascinating. And then here's another program that we discovered when we were at the ASI convention, and that is presented by Dr. David DeRose. Many of you may be familiar with Dr. DeRose. He's been on the radio, he's been on television quite a bit, and he's got a show called Timeless Healing Insights. And so this is a health-oriented show and presented again by Dr. DeRose, and that's going to also premiere on Saturday, October 1 at 7:30 a.m. So for those of you who are up pretty early, on a Sabbath morning, on a Saturday morning, and want to tune in to Timeless Healing Insights, that'll be 7:30 a.m. and some other times as well. Sabbaths at 7:30, as I said, Mondays at 12:30 p.m., so during that noon hour, and then Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m., so right after work on Tuesdays. And in this show, Dr. David DeRose helps individuals and groups to maximize their health. So that should be a really, really valuable program with lots of practical information. So we're delighted to be able to bring you these 2 new shows. One of the things that can be frustrating about television is just seeing things over and over again. So being able to have something new is really, really great. Also, speaking of new, we have new episodes of Secret Life of the Desert coming very soon on Blue Mountain Television. Mark your calendar for October 9 at 7 p.m. because that's when the next brand new episode of Secret Life of the Desert will premiere on the station. October 9, 7 p.m. And of course, we have new episodes of Authentic with Sean Boonstra, which is another favorite on the station, and you can watch the next one of those September 17 at 4 p.m. So that's coming up really soon, September 17 at 4 p.m. I want to thank you for the donations that you have been sending into Blue Mountain Television. That is what we need here at this ministry in order to keep going. It's a very exciting time for us, moving to the new facility, bringing you new programs, looking forward to the programs we'll be able to create when we get to the new facility. And so this is just about the most exciting time that there could be for joining with this ministry and contributing to it financially, and with your prayers, and by sharing about it with other people around you. So I say this every time, and I truly cannot emphasize it enough. It's a viewer-supported organization. It's all of us working together here in our community. What a wonderful thing. We don't have some big corporation somewhere that's just doing what they want to do. This is local. This is about you. This is about our community and all of us working together. So you're very important, and thank you for what you're doing. And also, thanks for tuning in for the show. It's been a pleasure to spend this time with you, and I'll see you next time.